I wanted to be in the army since I was 8. I joined in 1995, went to Sandhurst in 96. My first operational tour was Bosnia in 99, then 2002 Kosovo, and then the back end of 2002 Northern Ireland on a residential tour for 2.5 years, and then Afghanistan in 2008, and then again in 2011. So those were really the highlights. I was in the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers, so I was an engineer, very much enjoyed that. I commanded up to 100 troops on operations. Through nobody's fault, just a bad circumstance, I was commanding a workshop, and I just ended up in a bad way. I was working too hard and I was burnt out. And that's when I knew I was struggling with my mental health. Probably had the first suicidal thoughts around about 2000 when it all started, because let's face it, there's always an option. And you know, it's like a computer game. You might not be able to beat the computer game, but if you unplug it, you've won. The suicidal thoughts would escalate, and you know, a thought over time can become a behaviour, an attitude. That behaviour and attitude then can become an action. That can become planning, and then that can become true action and doing something about it. The thing that saved me, it was actually my friends. And I know it sounds a bit odd, but it was. You see, a few years prior to doing that, I ran across the Sahara Desert, as you do, and as part of the Marathon des Sables. And I always knew when I ran, I always had a problem with the distance. It's silly, if we're a marathon, it's about 17 miles. And I knew I'd have a problem. And in a way, I thought, if I'm running that distance, 155 miles across the desert, then that problem's going to escalate. So I need to have a bigger plan than just kicking myself and saying, carry on, you'll be all right. So I thought what I'd do is I'd ask a few of my friends to give me a reason why I'd succeed at what I was doing. And they all wrote back to me, and I put it in a little note, and I kept it with me. I didn't use the note, and I put it into my wallet and forgot about it. And then on Thursday the 11th July 13, I was in a wood in West Sussex, and I noticed there was a tree that was fallen and was leaning against another tree, and so you could get up fairly reasonably high to the branches, and I made a note of it. So I was in that tree, and I was ready to, with a rope around my neck, ready to end it all. And I remembered I had the note, and so I took that note that I put in my wallet absent-mindedly at the end of the event, and I read the note, and that note changed my life. It made me realise that there was hope out there, and it kicked me to say, regardless of what I think, and the fact that I hated everybody at that time, and I hated myself at the time, that people didn't hate me, and so there was a hope. It is important for your friends to spot things. It's also important for your friends to check in from time to time. It's the classic thing of a problem shared is a problem halved. And even if it's just talking to someone on the phone or going on Zoom or Teams or whatever and seeing someone's face, that can lift your spirits, in my personal experience. Taking the training is really important because it doesn't matter when you're going to use it. If you've got that training in your toolbox, so to speak, it's always going to be there. It could be 1 week, 1 month, 1 year where you suddenly come across somebody where that training is going to come into use. But if you've got that training, it will really help. And in terms of really help, let's be honest, it could save somebody's life.